and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning, everybody. It is the 2nd of April. I don't have to worry about April Fool's Day anymore. Except for that, I didn't really see a whole lot of April Fool's Day jokes yesterday. Everybody was super serious. Anyways, we got our market here. I think today we're going to spend a little bit more time trying out some data feeds. We've been doing IQ feed. We had a little bit of issues with drop frames, but I think if I just reset the priority on OBS, that'll fix that. I think what's happening is that when big splashes of data come through, that it's taking all of the processor utilization and taking it away from OBS. And if I just set the process priority of OBS higher, it should fix it. So we'll see. Anyways, I don't have it connected yet, so let's get in there and let's get that started and see if we can fix our issues that we're having with IQ feed, yeah? Let's see here. IQ feed. Okay. Also, I think we can do a little bit of work on the text-to-speech thing. I was working on it last night. I was at home and I was like, you know what, Seth? It'd be nice to do some work on that. Do something while you're at home. Well, right away it says that it can't find the chat ID. That is interesting. That is interesting. Okay. My charts are still loading here. Okay, 2485. So the chart. So we had a little bit of a move down yesterday. Not huge, but it's still like a 1% move. You got to realize that these ones down, this is like a 5% move. So this here is actually pretty big, relatively speaking. Now we're having a little bit of a rebound overnight. I guess today we'll find out if they really decide to come back down into this area. Here's this untouched point of control down here at 2347 that I think, actually 2373, that I think that they would be interested in getting. So we'll see if they decide to go down for it. Treasuries had some odd moves yesterday at the end of the session, like literally the last 30 minutes of the session, huge move up. We've come down and then retraced it back up to there. I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that. One thing that was happening around the time, and I don't know if they were perfectly correlated, but one of the things that was happening at the time was that Donald Trump tweeted about Iran saber rattling. So that might be part of it. Also, in 2 minutes, we've got the jobless claims. So I think what we're going to do here, I am dropping a few frames, but it's not as much as it was. So let's come in here and switch all these over. To using the bridge. Yes. And ZB. ZN. ZF. There we go. So actually pretty light here. I mean, we got, here comes the news. So 5 seconds. We're looking for a reading of 4,882,000 for continuing jobless claims. E-mini taking a pretty good hit there on the news release, and Treasury's just slightly higher. Okay, so I got the reading came in at 3,029,000. Initial jobless claims 6,648 versus an expected 3,500. So it was really bad. Man. Those numbers, that is an insane number. That is a pretty bad miss in expectations, guys. I don't know what to say about that. Well, the E-mini is down a good 10 points. I guess it's not a disaster, though, so that's good. Man, so this morning I cooked some eggs, and I accidentally got an eggshell in the eggs, which is really bad because it's, real, it's eggs from my chickens outside. And I was like, fine. I was like, maybe I actually got it out. Like, maybe it's not in there. Last bite. Ugh. Okay, so retracement, really quick retracement. It seems to me this is kind of what we saw with the numbers last time. Like, we were expecting the worst. The number comes out. It was really bad. Market sells off initially and then starts rallying and just completely ignores that the number was bad. Last time we were really frustrated that the market went up, and I think that had more to do with just larger term things and positioning. This one, they're pushing up a little bit, but it's not super significant yet. I think that for me, the things that I look at that wave down and back up and everything is a little bit too much for me to really judge. If I could take a trade here, it would be a little bit more of a gamble. So I'm going to let it go. I'm going to turn my attention over here to why it says that it can't find the live. I have to. What's the best way to do this? I guess I'll just open up an Explorer window. Okay, well, we haven't dropped any frames this time, so it was definitely process priority. So IQ feed changes the priority of the process on your system so that it makes sure the data gets through. That's interesting. We just had a pretty active market there, and well, we dropped a few frames. We dropped 63 frames, but it wasn't too bad. Kevin Wimmer, this time it is even worse than expected. Last time it was just below expectation. This time it was almost double the expectation. Well, it depended on which estimate that you were looking at. The one that I was seeing here on Jigsaw, last time they were worse than expected. But yeah, it is pretty crazy how bad it is, right? But I think that the market is kind of already knows that it's going to be super bad, and that's why maybe they can move up. I don't know. Okay. I'm just gonna get Ash here. What? Oh, wrong spot. There we go. It's unable to find the live chat ID. Is it really unable to find it? If not, what happens if I just get rid of this? No, it's really not finding it. Well, that is so interesting. Those numbers, ouch. Goldman Sachs said 3.5 million last time. Yeah, they were close. They were somewhat close last time. That is an insane number. Why is it not finding it? Console.log latest chat. Save. Running on board 5,000. Unable to retrieve. Try that. Okay, now they're going lower. Okay, so it just unlike when I do that whole big long thing. And I think that earlier I had fixed this is where it's, where was it? Down here? No, right here. So here is where it does, catches it. Okay, so I think I got it all. I think I got that all fixed. There we go. Man, I want my bull market back. The bear is too fast for me. Even gold is cancer too. Last 2 weeks, only taking trades in crude. You really were taking, but in crude, but is crude not is not been as fast, huh? I want to see here. Next thing is to come over to the task manager. What's happening to silver? Is it moving down? I'm not currently getting data for them. I would assume though that more margin calls. I don't know. It's just kind of this thing that I've been trying to say for a while, and I'll go into my rant again. But when you getting into interest rates, if the Federal Reserve changes interest rates, this has to move. It's intrinsically worth more when they lower the interest rate. Like it's straight up, it's worth more. And it wouldn't matter if the world's largest, you know, bond investment fund had a margin call and had to liquidate all of their assets. Everybody would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so great because the Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates and I can just buy it up." And they would just gobble it up. But in gold and silver, there's no reason that when the Federal Reserve lowers interest rates that they have to move. They just tend to move because people try and go as a flight to safety move, right? So that's where you can get these bizarre moves of sorts because they just can. And it's usually has more to do with positioning and stuff. But that's why treasuries and the dollar has always been the bigger flight to safety trade than say oil, than say gold. Gold has always been speculation.
Kevin Wimmer says yeah, crude is way slower. Range in European session was AB at 90 today. Gold 270 ticks and Amini 160 ticks. From session low to high.
Well, now that the E-mini is coming down here, but I don't know if they're going to make it down to the bottom or not. Oh, jeez. Wow, look at how many contracts traded there. Oh, I guess not. Oh, whoops. That was not what I wanted. Okay, well, we'll let it go down and then we'll fix it. Damn. Oh, man. That's unfortunate. This one was supposed to be MES. This one is supposed to be ES. There we go. So I made a really bad misread because of what I saw there.
Kevin Wimmer says and gold is so illiquid these days. Sometimes 10 market orders pushes 4 to 5 price levels. You have bits and offers ranging from 3 to 5 and half of them are fake orders. Crude liquidity is way higher.
Okay. It is kind of interesting that you would go to oil because oil is usually the devil child, you know? Yeah, I tried to pick a continuation at exactly the wrong time, and yes, and I'm super mad about it. I think that we could. I'm just gonna switch this one back over because, if we have to make it back, I think that's fair. Excuse me. Well, they seem to have really slowed down here, but they're not going for the short yet. Okay.
Kevin Wimmer says yeah Seth, when oil is less volatile than amini something is wrong lol. Often people
Something's
compared
definitely-
oil to the NQ, but now even the amini is faster. And the faster the market the harder it is to read for me.
Hmm. To pick this too. Shit.
Bots says waving hand morning all.
Morning, John. Oh, looks like they're gonna retrace a good bit of this, huh? Maybe even go back to where the news came out. Or at the very least, five. Let's see here. 50%. 24.69. Sure. Jeez. Not in sync, guys. I think I took that one that was kind of like on a fake order flow signal that I misread because I had my instruments mixed up. And then when I came up into trying to play this line, that there wasn't a good play. It was kind of late on both of them. I mean, I kind of see two-way interest, but I don't see a lot of urgency to either of it. It's actually really slowed down.
Harry L says I miss working out.
You miss working out? I've been working out past 2 or 3 days, and it's been nice. Uh, hmm.
Kevin Wimmer says I have sent you a picture of gold footprint. Just look at this lol. Price is getting skipped.
What the hell? I am just taking it wrong every fucking time, guys. I was looking for a failure. They bounced right off of me. They filled me and they bounced right off of me. Oh, they didn't fill me. They triggered my cell and they bounced right off of me. Let's see if I can see your picture here. I bet you that's a broker calling me. No, it's my wife. Hello. Okay. We didn't put the trash out. We got to go take it out. We're just going to do that. I'll be right back. Okay. So this picture that Kevin's got here. Oh, and is that the E-mini? I can see how they're like skipping prices. That's interesting. Like they just completely pulled the bid in a spot and didn't trade. How much did they fight me? A good amount. And they're still fighting me. Hmm. It's kind of odd behavior. I guess it's not really odd for this kind of action, but just really big swing down and big swing back up and now swinging back down and, you know, it's going good.
Bot says not that unusual to prices skip over levels in GC. Many place their entries exits in 0.5 increments, not necessarily at the
Yeah.
even numbers.
The E-mini is moving like 8 points in a swing. Like, what the hell? From 55 all the way up to 63, that's 8 points. Down, up, back down. So there appears to be some degree of balance around 2465, let's say. Well, 63.
IQ says hi, good morning.
Hey, IQ, how have you been? I'm noticing that they're having a really hard time getting above 63. But they're just being really difficult, huh? It's not the usual thing. That's long. The issue I'm having here is it's actually giving me long, but then they don't go.
Andrew Thomas says can you take a look at LK?
No clue what that is.
Bot says they're not there.
American Depository Shares? That's a stock. Why would you ask me about a stock? Luckin Coffee? Is that what it is? Are they doing it there at 63 again? I have to say, I feel like that the setup here is really negative. Like, the market was already kind of down and kind of in a vulnerable spot. They're heading down overnight. Then the jobless claims come out, and it's way worse than expected. We did move down, but they're kind of fighting it, and I'm kind of sitting here like, I think you're just messing with me. Yeah, look at how that happens when they do start selling it. I don't know, man. Economists saying it's a bigger than the depression number in 1950, but they forget the population is a lot bigger. It's a bigger percentage, though. So there was this thing, if you recall, when they were passing the bill, there was some Republican senators that were trying to stop the bill from being passed because there was language in there that essentially made it so that if you were, so that a lot of people would actually make more money from being laid off than from continuing to work. And eventually they decided that they were just going to offer up an amendment. And Bernie Sanders made a big speech that the left loved, but they offered up an amendment. The Democrats fought it, and that measure failed. So it's in there. If you make under a certain amount, like if you make less than $800 a week, then you will make more money if you get laid off. And my wife at her work, she's they gave people the opportunity to do voluntary leave, and so the people that they have the money or whatever, they could choose to just not work and help out the people that really need the work. So all of those people, they took the leave, and then it turns out they pass that bill, and those people get the unemployment during that time, and they make more than they would have been making if they were working. So the people that didn't really need it end up making more, and the people that had felt like they had to work don't get that benefit where they get paid more for not working. And we had Uzi, he was saying that, oh yeah, like I should probably just lay off my workers temporarily because they'll make more money. And I think that we're seeing that. I think you might see that the unemployment numbers may be less and less and less because there's like literally an incentive to lay everybody off during this time. Everybody that makes under that amount, you should just straight up fire them. Like, no joke. It's in their interest, at least, that you
Uzi
just straight
Knesset
up fire
says
them.
that's what we're trying to do in our household. Our business can still run, but revenues are low, so we can't pay ourselves, but we laid me off so we can have some cash flow.
They laid you off. I think, and when I see this jobless number come out, and it's double what it's supposed to be, I think that bill is going to come back and bite everybody in the butt, and maybe they turn around and they eventually decide to fix it. I guess it depends on how long it goes on, but maybe a month isn't enough pain for the senators to decide to fix it, but that is not good. Okay, so
Harry
we had
L says, I wonder how long this stimulus money is going to last.
right. Well, the whole thing is kind of weird to me.
Uzi Knesset says one big problem here in Florida though, our unemployment website is worse than AOL in 95 lol.
There's a lot of weird things going on in Florida, man. Like this whole thing yesterday where they're like, well, we haven't done a stay in place order yet, but if the administration asked us to, I guess maybe we would, and then they ended up doing it yesterday.
Harry L says lol. Bots says population hash S1929 122,775,046 versus 2023 128,877,386.
Well, so they were saying that the jobless numbers are worse than the Great Depression, and the argument was, but we have more people. But I was pointing out that the unemployment percent is
Uzi
higher.
Knesset says yeah, they did statewide stay-at-home order yesterday, but it just mimics the county orders, so really nothing changed.
Yeah, I'm sure really nothing changed. Anyways, there's literally more people unemployed now than there was during the Great Depression. Realize during the Great Depression, a quarter of the United States was basically homeless for years and years, living in these camps. And we have more unemployment now than then. That speaks to, well, the government told them to fire everybody, right? So I don't know if it's a big deal or not. We might be looking at this 3 months from now and going, man, that was sure a dumb decision. But what are you going to do? We're like in a situation where we just aren't qualified, prepared to make these
Uzi
decisions.
Knesset says on the bright side, I made my font size bigger on my DOM so my eyes stop being on fire. I have that going for me, which is nice.
Nice. I wish I could get the font size with the ES a little bit better, but
Harry L says we don't have stay at home in KY as of today. Ask
Hmm.
Our Money Machine says Seth, do you be live in long recession that could happen soon? Bots says it might be a higher percentage today, but there were almost no women in the workforce in the 1930s.
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, the thing here, you realize what's really happening, right? All of the money makers in the economy, basically technology and services companies, the ones that have been responsible for the majority of the GDP and productivity increases over the last 20 years, they're all fine. Like they're all working from home and handling it and being just fine. And it is literally everybody else. All of these people that we've been saying have been underserved for so long and have been getting screwed over and over again are the ones that you're firing and laying off. It's so ironic, right? And then you have a law that kind of incentivizes them to lay you off. Boy. But I guess if you make more money and then you turn around and
Jing Chi says hello.
hey Xing, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Anyways,
Bots says which means in the 1930s almost half the population of working-aged people were not part of the workforce.
right. Certainly things are not as bad as the Great Depression. But I think it just kind of highlights that the jobless claims is probably your best indicator of how big of a toll this is going to take on the economy. Fair? I just don't know what when I read on Facebook and I see what people say. So like one of the things that I see is really common on Facebook right now. They should defer all rent and mortgage payments. Like you shouldn't have to pay rent or mortgage for the next 3 months. We're just going to skip it all and those aren't going to do it. Okay. Like I get it. The government says you can't work. So it's not fair to ask us to pay our mortgage. Okay. But now the mortgage company doesn't make any money and all of their workers can't work. And then the banks that have the mortgage backed securities and so forth with your mortgage, they can't make any money and they're out. And when you don't have the bank around, then oh my gosh, then things start getting really bad. How at what point does somebody pay for something? Do you think that everybody is just going to provide everything for free for the next 6 months? I don't. You think that the government can hold the economy up for that long? I don't think so. Like they can do it for April, but beyond that, and I don't know what's gonna happen. And the thing that's so weird to me, like well, not weird, but like I feel like there's a real disconnect, is then you have this group of people that are like, we need a nationwide, like we haven't gone far enough. There needs to be a nationwide lockdown or whatever. I feel that the leaders in the local area have a better handle on how serious of an issue it is for their particular area and to make their decision. And there might be some local areas that will make the wrong choice, and you should have voted for better people. But I really hate this idea that like we have to tell everybody what to do because it's in the public's health interest. Is just like, no. Like you put out the guidelines, you asked everybody to stay in place. You don't have to force them to do that. They're doing it already, and I really don't think that what you save, the lives that you might save from that, is worth the loss of freedom that you're receiving from taking that kind of a path, you know. But they really want it, and I'm just sitting here like, do you realize, like, did they realize what they're asking for when they say this stuff? I don't know. I don't think they really do. It might be the right choice in the end, but I don't think they realize the implications of what they think should happen.
Bots says stop paying mortgages, and the trickle down from that is most of the investments you're holding in your IRA stop paying dividends on top of the greater than 50% haircut you just took on the original position. Nida's Kitchen says watch often. Speak almost never, but have an idea for mortgages. Pay interest only and roll principal into the back end. Helps people today, but doesn't create the trickle down pain.
Okay, now that sounds like an interesting idea. At least that sounds like you've put more thought into it than what most of the people online are saying. You only pay the interest and then roll the principal into the back end. Oh, okay. So you're saying that you won't have to pay the principal now, but you will have to pay the principal at the end of the loan. So if you took a 30-year, you had like 10 years left on your loan today, and you didn't have to pay it for a year, let's just say, then they just add a year of payments at the end. But you still pay the interest, so the mortgage company still makes the interest. I think that's a good idea. I don't know if politically people would go for it. Do you think they would go for it?
Sinbad Slizel says hello Seth, from London, UK, where our PM Boris Johnson has COVID-19. Pandemonium here too. Bots says or allow people to draw money from their IRA with no tax consequence and let them pay it back within 5 years.
Well, I believe that in the last bill they actually did do that. I didn't hear anything about it after it was passed, but when it was under consideration, there was an article on CNBC about it, and how it was how bad of an idea it was for you to dip into your savings like that if you didn't absolutely have to. But I think that they did it, yeah.
Ask Our Money Machine says retailers are in big trouble.
Yeah. So, here's another thing that I think. So here's two things. Hold on. Good, let's get it all out.
Nida's Kitchen says sure people would. Our society loves get now, pay later. Credit is king.
I'm sitting here thinking like I have some thoughts that I want to share, but I think that you guys have like better stuff to say right now. So let it out. Let it out. They're going down. Jeez. Okay. So does that fix our boo boo? Yeah, it does. If that fixes our boo boo, then let's take at least one. You see that? That's not positive action. It's stopping people out, and it immediately snaps back.
Red says morning Seth.
Good morning. By the way, are you guys seeing me on your front page again? As we have a lot more people today, I wonder if something changed.
Uzi Knesset says don't let dipshit politicians fool you into saying they fight for small businesses. All they did was free up a bunch of debt no one can pay because they have ordered us all to shut down.
Right.
Bots says what data feed are testing out today?
Well, I haven't changed anything yet. I'm still doing the IQ feed. I think that, okay, so first of all, cool. So I can show you. I'll bring it over here, okay? So here's OBS. And you can see down here this little green number right here, 1,560. That's a number of what do we say? Number of dropped frames. And it appears that IQ feed, what happens is when a burst of volume comes through, IQ feed like increases its processor priority, and when that happens, it kicks OBS out of rendering frames. So when I came into OBS and I set, you can change the process priority, and that seemed to change some things. But it's still pretty bad. So I don't know. Good deal. And it got out. I think that I would like to try CQG though. Here in a bit, if when things calm down, I think that we should do it towards the end of the session though. Anyways.
Christoph Chesney says hi, real profit?
No, it was a sim account. In fact, we screwed up. And that was kind of why I did it, because I didn't want it to mess my stats up, because it was not. We made a mistake. So what happened was I have two domes here. One is the ES and one is the micro ES, and I didn't. I had them switched, and so I took the trade in the E-mini when I was supposed to take it in the micro. And so I ended up taking like this $1,000 loss, and I'm like, well, $1,000 loss is really going to screw up any kind of stats that I was keeping on this. So I was like, well, at the very least, let's not let it show a thing down. But I don't know. Probably all the stats that I collect during this time are probably not going to be any good in the end, anyways. But I digress. Okay, so Mont says by CQG you mean continuum? Yes. Well, I mean, it's for me, it's just called CQG.
Jing Chi says hello, I'm here at night.
Oh, okay. You mean it's late? It's late night for you, huh?
Harry L says data prices up.
Yeah, it's double. It's so crazy that it's double, but maybe it'll be better for us in the end. I don't know. Okay, what did Uzi have here?
Uzi Knesset
Oh,
says
right.
don't let dipshit politicians fool you into saying they fight for small businesses. All they did was free up a bunch of debt no one can pay because they have ordered us all to shut down.
So, here's one thing that I learned about the stimulus that might be pertinent to you, Uzi. Well, maybe not. I don't know. If you take out a small business loan and then you don't lay anybody off during the time period, then you don't have to pay it back. Yeah, maybe good. I don't know. The whole thing is just, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's just every time I look at this, the thing that I would really like, I come out of COVID-19 with is, or what I'm looking at is how do you deal with a situation when you don't know what you're doing? Because the reality of it is that nobody knows what they're doing, and nobody could know what they're doing. Just look at the numbers for like the death rates and things like that. It's like, okay, we're going to shut everything down. Now, if we're going to shut everything down, we want to do it because we know that it's going to save lives. It's going to save lives because it's going to flatten the curve and prevent our medical system from becoming overwhelmed. Okay, so how many people are actually going to be in the hospital above what our capacity is? Okay, well, then you got to go down and do the numbers and say how many people are likely to get infected with this and how many of those people are likely to be hospitalized using statistics, right? But yeah, more ventilators or more testing kits. Testing people certainly seems to help. But then you ask, okay, so what are those numbers? And the reality is that none of the data that we have on that is really reliable enough to make this decision. The number of cases, we don't really have a good number on number of cases because we aren't testing everybody. We have a limited supply of testing materials, and it's not just in the United States. A lot of people seem to be pretending that it's just the United States. It's not just the United States, because they're having a problem in the UK too. And then even like when you look at the number of people that die, like they might misattribute the cause of death on the death certificate wrong. They might say that they died of pneumonia instead of COVID-19. They're even saying in China the number of confirmed cases was wrong because somebody would have it and they would say, "Oh, there it wasn't severe enough, so we didn't count them as that they had it." It's just like the whole thing is crazy. Or they might have said, "Okay, well they had COVID-19, but that wasn't what actually killed them. What actually killed them was heart failure or something." It's just like that sort of a thing. How do you extrapolate the numbers that we need to make this decision? I mean, you can make a good guess, and you certainly should, and it helps, but the reality is we don't have the data to make the decision. And so the government has essentially decided to be cautious. And what we learned was that in Italy, things got really, really bad. So there's every reason for us to try and take that path. Okay, cool. Wait, let's take a break here.
Harry L. says next 2 earning cycles are going to be
Sure.
bloodbath.
So now we've said, okay, so we've decided, and I think that it's a reasonable decision that we need to tell everybody to stay home. So we try and keep everything that we can open, but we tell everybody to stay home.
Jing Qi says China doesn't know what's going on now.
Well, there's this whole thing where they've been saying that they're pretty much past it over there in China, and now they're like locking down new areas. So I don't think anybody in China knows what. I'm sure that the population and all of the politicians watching what's going on over there are just have no clue what to think.
Bots says lol, it wasn't the fall off the roof that killed him, it was the sudden stop at the end of the fall that killed him.
Right. But you're just, do you get what I'm saying? Where there's so many edge cases on there, and how you categorize them is not consistent and might not necessarily help you determine the thing that you want to determine. And so the number can be off by like literally orders of magnitude. Like when you're talking about something that increases exponentially, that kind of an error, like if you have like a 1% error and you extrapolate that over an exponentially increasing function, that can be a really big change. I know you get it. I was just helping everybody else. No, but I think that it was the right decision to shut things down. Maybe there are some things about how we shut things down that were maybe wrong. Like, but I don't really know. Like, how do you know? Because I'm not an expert in it. It seems like even the experts, there is a lot of theory because this hasn't happened in 100 years. And so we don't really have very good data about what works and what doesn't, Like, should we have told everybody literally just stay in your house and don't go out? The shelter in place order, is that really what we need to tell everybody? Or is it really like you need to do social distancing and wash your hands and all this, but it's okay? I don't know. But probably nobody does, right? So we're making a decision where we don't know what we're doing. And then we have decided to shelter, or most places have decided to shelter in place. So now we have this huge economic problem. And how do you deal with that? Like, okay, so we have a big section of the field of economics is all about economic stimulus. That when we have a recession and you spend money here or you spend money here, what is most likely to get the economy going and what is going to have the greatest impact within a year on GDP? And there's also some areas of economics that kind of say, okay, where do you want to invest in? This is kind of something that I think that I would like to see more in economics, but like, in the United States, we focus mostly on technology and services, which is great, but we've done so at the expense of manufacturing. And now we're turning around and we're realizing that, shifting all of our manufacturing off to China was a bad idea. Okay. So what is the aggregate impact on the industries that you're going to have here? Like, what is the economy going to look like at the end of this? And is it really the way that you want your economy to look? Is just giving everybody a check and putting it on government debt really the way to do it? We have no clue how to judge the impact of that. It's impossible. In my opinion, we really don't know what we're doing. We're doing our best, and there's experts that definitely know a lot of things, but we don't really have enough data to really make these decisions confidently, And it's really unfortunate because that at the end of this, we're going to say, well, we should have done this and we should have done this. And I'm sure people are going to get a lot of blame, but probably don't deserve it because would you have done any different? I don't know.
Nida's Kitchen says Wuhan is locked down again. So how are we in North America going to deal with this? It would seem that slow down by isolation is only a temp fix. People won't go along with this for long.
I don't know.
Krzysztof Szczesny says in United Kingdom government will pay 80% salary if you have permanent contract or you are self-employed.
Okay.
Jing Chi says distance depends on the best way. Red says agree, just like all our prescription meds ingredients are sourced in China or something like that.
Oh yeah, all of these issues that we're having with
Uzi Knesset says the
supply
isolation
chains
is bullshit.
terrible. So I was this was come up the other day because there's an economic subreddit, right, which is becoming a complete absolute joke, to be honest. There was a thread yesterday about basic universal income, and all of the top comments were political hacks spreading propaganda. And there was a lot of comments that were deleted. I haven't gone and looked at the deleted comments, but I bet you that all of the comments were like, this is why nobody takes r/economics seriously anymore. I'm sure that they were. Those were all deleted.
And
And
Slizel says, Seth, what are your thoughts on buying gold, Bitcoin, and trading coal, oil tanker ETFs given oil price wars and the very real possibility we'll go back to a very simple way of living? Sorry, vegans.
yeah.
Harry L says it is a very complicated matter, therefore I need another cup of coffee. Duncan French Vanilla, Keurig hard at work.
Yeah, so hold on, we got a couple of thoughts here. Oh, so let me finish the thing that I was thinking there. So, anyways, they were talking about basic universal income, and one of the things I was pointing out was like you realize that basic universal income is basically like shifting money. You're saying you're going to take money from this section of the economy and give it to this section of the economy. And the section of the economy that you're giving it to is the section of the economy that's technically already strong, right? You're just giving us more consumer discretionary, essentially, or at least according to the way that they claim it's going to help the United States, right? So, is it that really what you want? If you want to help your manufacturing base, then that's like the exact opposite of what you want to do, right? Because you're taking money away from those people that produce stuff with a value added tax, right? Okay, so next one was Sinbad about what are your thoughts about gold, Bitcoin, and trading cold oil. So I think that at some point gold or oil will go, will bottom, and it's going to be a great buy. I don't know if the oil is ever going to recover like a long term. Like it might be a really long time, really really long time before we see $50 an oil barrel oil again. And so that means that there's probably years of pain for oil companies. So that's the first one to keep in mind. Okay. But then the second one that you got to keep in mind, so you're talking about gold and Bitcoin and all these others. Um, so gold tends to be let's just talk gold. Gold tends to be something that you buy when people are concerned about inflation, right? If there's going to be inflation, you being gold, the value of gold should stay the same or even increase, and that will protect you from the inflation. Okay, but that's not what's happening. What we're having happen right now is a complete vacuum of money. All of the money is drying up. It's not moving because people literally, what the fuck just happened? Mm-mm-mm. Okay, hold up. Something happened. What the what? think that it's going to go higher. I don't know what. Oh man, what was that? Okay, I haven't seen the news hit Twitter. I'm sure it's going to come here. Man, that was something else. Oh, that was the open. Duh. I'm so dumb, guys. Okay. Thanks, John. Thanks, John. I just completely lost track of time, guys. I'm so dumb. Yeah.
Harry L. says it is a very complicated matter, therefore I need another cup of coffee. Dunkin' French Vanilla, Keurig hard at work. Uzi Knesset says oil war has USA staring intently at Venezuela lol.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jane Chi says I think waiting is better.
Yeah.
Uzi Knesset says lolbot's the only one paying attention.
I know, I'm so dumb.
Coolood says one good thing about the pandemic is, in a 1 to 2 month time, average American voter understands how shitty their stagnated health care and social system is compared to other first world countries.
Man, you know exactly the thing to say to derail my thought process and the things that we wanted to talk about. But I don't think so. I think that in countries that have socialized healthcare, like the UK especially, but Italy too, and all these other places. Remember, Italy was considered one of the best run socialized healthcare systems. Okay, and their medical system just got completely burned. I would have to see how things turn out. But the thing that you got to remember about a socialized healthcare system is that it tends to reduce supply of healthcare, right? That this is where, in the UK and in Canada, you have to wait a long time to get an appointment. And maybe that's okay most of the time. I mean, that's a trade-off, and everything's a trade-off, and maybe you're okay with that trade-off, okay? But during a pandemic, that can be a real problem. Here in the United States, we'll see what happens, but in theory, at least the capitalist argument would be that when so many people start getting sick, that the supply will increase to meet the demand in a way that it can't in a socialized healthcare. So we'll see what happens. Okay, but anyways, we're going back to gold and oil, right? The issue that we have now is there is no liquidity. We are suffering from deflation. We're having the single strongest deflationary event of all time. When the issue is that people don't have money, you're not concerned about inflation. It's not a problem. So why are you trying to defend yourself against inflation? There's all these people that are thinking, yeah, we are taking on a lot of debt. I understand. We are printing a lot of money. I understand. But you can do that because there's deflation, right? You have to do something to get the money going around again. You're not going to have the prices of everything increase if nobody can even buy anything. It's deflationary. And in a deflationary environment, gold is not what you want. Because in a deflationary environment, what's happening? People are getting margin calls, and then they get creamed. Sorry, I'm dropping a lot of frames here because of IQ feed. Anyways, so I really don't think that gold, Bitcoin, etc. is really where you want to be right now. Not in a deflationary environment. But we'll see.
Nidus Kitchen says I'm Canadian. And socialized healthcare is showing its ass with what's happening. Of course our numbers are low, but it's because we are socialized. We aren't testing, but we have swamped hospitals. Coolood says no country is prepped for pandemic. I am talking about cost for average Joe. No one goes bankrupt due to corona. Also the longer waiting times are myth. Sinbad
I
Slizel says thanks, Seth.
I know for a fact that in certain healthcare services that you want in Canada, because I have family in Canada, that for some healthcare service, because my grandma, she lives in Alberta, but she will come and live in Arizona in the summer, and she much prefers to come and see health specialists here in the United States because in Canada she can't get in often. So I know for a fact that it is. How big of an issue it is maybe up for debate. But you know, the whole point, the thing that economists generally tend to agree on is that you have supply issues with socialized healthcare systems. But the whole thing that's so funny, it's like the left seems to believe that this is all a really great excuse to push socialism now, and it really is not the case. You're gonna come and look at the end of this and see which countries come out of it better. Is I think that you're gonna see big differences, and I don't mean like who had the least amount of cases, because that's a different thing. That's like obviously certain decisions that you make are gonna make a huge impact on that, and we don't really know the correct thing. We don't have the data to really know for sure what the correct thing is, and some people are going to get it right and some people are going to get it wrong. But in terms of like how fast you grow when you're coming out of it, there's going to be a big difference. You'll see it. Wow.
Nidus Kitchen says my father-in-law has waiting 18 months for a hip. And he is now immobile. Harry L. says I have family in Australia. They are pretty happy with socialized healthcare systems.
I don't think that a socialized healthcare system is necessarily bad. Well, I mean, there are some things that are bad. This whole thing, like in the UK, where like somebody wanted an experimental treatment and they were going to go to Italy to go and get it, and they wouldn't even, like, there was a court case and they wouldn't even let them leave. That is so fucking stupid. That is not right. Maybe that can be fixed though. I don't think that the idea of like if we as a group of people decide that we're all going to enter into an agreement to pay insurance altogether, then I think that that's okay. Okay, but I don't think that it's necessarily the most effective thing that you can possibly do. That's all. Could President Trump really order a national lockdown or place states under quarantine? Legal experts say not really. Yeah, probably true. So there was a couple of other things that we were getting on. What was it? Yeah, I don't know. So should we try a different data feed now? I'm going to try and sign up for CQG. I don't think that they're going to let me start one, but I'm going to try, okay?
Coolud says SoCalite healthcare equals socialism laughing face.
Oasis does not equal socialism. I mean, it's not. It kind of depends, right? Where I say it, and actually it is socialized healthcare, because what's happening is people that are richer pay more into the system. It's socialized. It's wealth redistribution. There's no way around it. The whole thing is there for wealth redistribution. Okay.
Harry L. says bailouts are what?
They're not necessarily. So a bailout is not necessarily socialism. So you got to remember that because a program is a government program doesn't necessarily make it socialism, okay? Are roads socialism? I know that a lot of socialists seem to think that it is. And they always say, well, if socialism's so bad, why not roads? And things like, just because the government does something doesn't mean that it's socialism, okay? What makes it socialist is wealth redistribution, okay? What makes it social, that is, well, there's two things. I guess even wealth redistribution isn't necessarily by definition socialism. I guess the thing that really makes it socialism is a government takeover of an industry, when the government takes over the means of production of a particular thing. So if the government comes in and says, we are going to provide health insurance that everybody can get on, not socialism. Okay, like Medicare for all, and you can choose, not socialism. But if the government comes in and does what Bernie Sanders wants to do, which is providing insurance is illegal, and you are only able to provide health care services through the government, that is socialism, because that is the government seizing the means of production of a particular industry for the benefit of the country. That is socialism. Okay, so that is by definition socialism. But then there's this other attached thing that always tends to attend it, which is wealth redistribution. Okay, so a bailout is a bailout socialism. It's not. The government's not taking over the industry. The industry still makes their own decisions. It depends on how it does it, but you're giving them a loan, and maybe the government becomes one shareholder in it or something like that. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, it's not a wealth redistribution. The companies that get the bailouts, it's a loan. It's not just like they get the money and they keep it forever. It's a loan. The government makes money doing that. They make a lot of money doing that. And quite frankly, here's the thing. Every time that there is a financial crisis, there is a bailout. Okay? In the panic of 1907, JP Morgan got together with all of his banker friends because all of the traders ran their margins and owed money. And he said, I'll tell you what, we're going to loan you all money, and then you can start trading again and you can make the money back, and you'll pay us our loans back. And you want to know why JP Morgan was like one of the richest guys ever? Because he did that. Because he made so much money off of the interest when they paid him back. So if there are going to be bailouts, and there has to be bailouts, I want to be the one bailing people out. When we come in and we let the government do it, the government has a really big balance sheet. So they're actually a really great candidate to be doing it with. And so government bailouts, so far, I think, have worked out really well. The only issue is when the government takes on significant amounts of debt to do it, and then the government itself doesn't clear the debts off of its balance sheet, right? Like the bailouts itself was great, but the bailouts and all of the tax, cuts, and the never taking care of the budget and running a huge deficit is a separate thing that kind of puts us in a tough situation to do it. But the government bailout itself, so far from what we've seen, actually pretty effective. And it's not socialism. Look, if you want to go and get a loan from the government and pay that loan back, then you can do it. Like they say that they're not bailing out the average guy. They are. You can go and you can get a personal loan. If you're a small business, you can go and get a loan from the government right now. They've set up all these programs to do it. You can get a loan. If you want to get a loan to help you get through the next 6 months or whatever it's going to be, there's a good chance that you can get it, but you have to pay it back. Do you really want to pay it back with interest now? Not so much. Really, I think people want a handout. And that's not really what the bailouts are. Bailout is not a handout.
Nasiadig Chingu says, Seth, is your wife okay with current pandemic? I remember you mentioned that she's a flight attendant.
Yeah, so she's a flight attendant, and we kind of are in a unique situation because we just had a baby, and so she was already on leave anyways, but she was supposed to start back up again in May. Now, she really doesn't want to start up again in May, and I think that we will try and, get out of it. Like if they give her the opportunity to take voluntary leave, it looks like we've been doing well without her working. I don't know how, but somehow we have been. And so, probably we just, she'll be able to stop working. And there's certainly the airline industry is going to be smaller. So far, their company hasn't shown any signs of real stress from it. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't necessarily trust what she says from it just because I know that companies sometimes are, how do we put it, deceptive about how safe your job is. You know what I mean? So that's that. Oh, I guess it is continuum. If I get CQG from AMP, I don't think that they call it continuum. It's just CQG, but I don't think that I can go and get a demo from just CQG here, can I? Solutions, market data, maybe with new commercial network, agricultural humanities, blah 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 blah. Oh, let's try this CQG demo. There we go. Free trial. Start your CQG trader free trial today. Oh, no, that's probably not what we want. Actually, I wonder if I can. Oh, let's try this. I'm starting to drop more and more frames. Or maybe we could do it through. Hey, that's a great idea. You know what? I don't think that I want to just do a CQG one. Okay. I think let's do this Tradeovate. Let's do Tradeovate. We can, right here. Try Tradeovate now. You're talking through some nice 30 to 40 to 70 point runs. I know. When it opened, it was 7:30, and I want to trade that first 15 minutes. And now that it's going through, I'm not. Back up. The last swing was down. The longer term trend is down. We appear that we may be bouncing. I'm not interested in buying. Ergo, I wait. So, and I already took a good trade that I can be happy with ending the day with. So maybe I just stop there. Okay. Register with Tradeovate to gain full access to all functionality and real-time data for 14 days with registration. Unlock these features. Register to gain full access. Yes. Okay. And I will do sign in with Google. Why is he hanging onto the 182.15 to 12 area? I don't know. The 10-year has kind of been slow too. Well, I think that they may just be waiting for the E-mini to kind of do its thing and decide what they're really going to do. I don't know. When they bounced back up, that was a little weird to me. Also, I'm seeing some behavior in the spread. Oh, that's really interesting. Like, even the knob spread is kind of volatile. But here in this area, you're probably going to see a lot of people taking trades in the spread. So we'll kind of watch here a little bit and see what the volume looks like and see if there's a correlation there and where they're taking them. Yeah.
Nasiadig Chingu says, what is an ideal amount to deposit into a brokerage firm if I plan to trade the micros? With so much volatility, I feel like micro is a safer bet than M&S.
So the minimum amount that I would recommend trading a micro contract with is $500. So if you have $500, that gives you enough wiggle room. But even then, I'm not so sure that, especially if you're a new trader, that trading this kind of action is necessarily the smartest thing. I traded the beginning of it, and I've been doing really well through all of this, but part of the way that I've been able to do it is to just take on more risk. And when you're doing it with micros, you really don't want to be taking on that much risk. Then maybe if I had $5,000 and could trade micros, and then maybe it would be okay, right? So in this situation, probably the best thing to do is get $500 together, start an account, but don't actually trade it. Just trade it sim. Yeah. Okay. So even though I attached it to my Google account, they want me to fill stuff out. That's funny. So now I'm clicking sign up, and it's not doing anything. Here I put it in. Sign up. Nothing happens. So let's try doing it through Chrome. See if it's any different. Yeah, they're trying to buy it up. I don't know about this one. Oh, I had that over. I forgot that I was over on this screen and not this screen. RJ Will says, "Hey, easy to find today. You're back in YouTube's graces." Yeah, you know what? We never checked that. We should check that. I'm having some issues here. It does seem like IQ feed is like slowing my system down for some reason, even though when you look at it, okay, like, okay, 60% CPU it's not everything. What is a software reporter tool? Oh, that's Chrome. That's Chrome. I'm just gonna show you guys my camera here for a little bit, okay? Ninja's latest deal on offer: simply fund your new account in April with as low as $400 and purchase your lifetime license. Yeah, which is $900, I believe, right? Then you'll receive a rebate for commissions on all micro futures placed from May 1st to May 31st. Yes, I saw that deal too. But the whole thing was like, yeah, but you really just want them to buy the. You just want them to buy the license. But if you were gonna buy if you wanted to buy Ninja Trader license, anyways, good deal. Good deal if you were gonna buy the licensing. Okay. I've traded futures before. Sign up. Doesn't. I want to try trade over. Why?
Bot says still not a bad deal. The commissions are reduced when you own the lifetime license.
Yeah, it is better. Why doesn't it work? Hey, Trade of 8, we tried you. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Mm, I don't know. I don't know. So weird. Okay. I'm gonna try one other thing. It does seem like that IQ feed is doing something to my system. Like now that the market is going, I'm skipping almost 10% of frames, which is pretty bad. Uh, let's see. I think that if I can get a CQG demo, but what I'm concerned about is that I'm gonna do it and it's not gonna let me connect Ninja. It's not gonna let me connect Jigsaw and Ninja to it. Let's see, because that was the thing. Okay. So Trade of 8 should having issues. Trade of 8 you should fix. I don't know what else to say.
Nidus Kitchen says, since I feel chatty today, wanted to tell you, when you had earthquake, my heart sank. My son goes to university in Utah. Weber State, he said I called on him before the shaking even stopped, lol.
Wow. That is crazy, really. Huh. Yeah, we're still getting a little bit of shaking. But yesterday there was it yesterday or the day before they had one in Idaho that was even bigger. And I saw this seismologist guy on Twitter. He was saying that when you get an earthquake like that one, that you should expect to see it spread. So we might. I don't know if we'll see another one here in Utah, but he was kind of saying that surrounding areas probably going to have a little bit because some sort of significant shift happened. Okay, so now we're above the line. That's interesting. Um, it's gonna take a bit here. That's actually, relatively speaking, because we had so much volatility, this swing up is not all that significant. Ends up not being very significant. Okay, so now I try and do it through Optimus, and when it goes to where I want to set up a CQG demo, it says loading. Of course, it's a PHP file.
Nidus Kitchen says, did you feel the Idaho shake? He
Didn't
did. It was 2 days ago. We had some here in British Columbia as well. Same fault line.
every once in a while I'll feel my table shake and I think that something's happening again, but then I'm like, maybe that one's just in my head, you know. Oh man, I am dropping so many frames. Um oh, you know what I should do is I should open up Gmail and see if any of that gave me like thank you for registering, click here sort of email. No, they did not. Huh. So interesting. Why am I having a hard time finding a CQG demo? Well, I could try doing it. Okay, I can try doing it through NinjaTrader. I know that one will work for sure. But I'm pretty sure that they're gonna say that they're not gonna let me do it. Let's see. I'm not a robot. You will receive an email. Oh, here we go. Now, the username and password will be sent by Continuum. I bet you it won't. Bet you it won't. Let's see. I really do want to try CQG again. I want to see the futures, or I want to see exchange traded spreads in Jigsaw. I've never been able to get exchange traded spreads to show up in Jigsaw, and I would like to do that. And I'm told that with CQG it will do it. Okay, I'm seeing some pushing up in ES. I think they might actually be able to continue up a little bit more, but it's getting a little sketchy. There's definitely something on that last spike. While we're waiting for that, let's go to YouTube. Oh, it is showing up on my front page. And it's showing live. Oh, we're unthrottled.
Red says NinjaTrader has a demo. It takes 2 minutes to set up.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Red. When I started trading 3 years ago, I did the demo like 20 times. And before I started doing combines, I would just get a demo over and over again. And I would just change my email address a little bit. And I had done it so many times that CQG like banned my IP or something like that. Now I've moved and everything else, but I don't think they're gonna send me that email. See, I did it. NinjaTrader sent me the email, but I'm not getting anything from CQG Continuum right now in my Gmail. It's not. I'm looking at all mail, so even its spam will show up in here. It's not coming through. Jigsaw's doing a webinar. That's cool. But yeah, it's not coming. So I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. One thing that I should probably check. Is if I just come over to my connections here and I try connecting to my regular account. Well, let me do it right now. I think that it'll still give me the error. It says pending failed. Yep. Yep. Maybe tomorrow. Definitely Monday. I'm going to bet, though. I'm going to bet that the money will get in there, but I will still have to call them to do something to get the account working again. Because I'm dumb. This is what you get sent for gambling in a market that's too volatile. Knew better. Thought I would get away with it. You know what? Any other financial crisis. That's the thing that's so crazy about it. Any other financial crisis, I would have gotten away with it, but not this one. You know, if it was 2008, I'd be swimming in it right now. But because of this thing, and you're falling like 10% in a day. Ugh.
IQ says ZB gonna break 00.
Well, they're moving down a little bit, aren't they? I think though, I am starting to get some hints that I should be taking a trade in the micros. They did their first little bounce. So you always got to be careful about that one. No. Actually, I think I would rather get here. I don't know if they're going to go that far. Okay. No, I'm getting a lot of spam, but I'm still not getting an email from CKG. Oh. I get this email from Virus. Oh my gosh. So I'm on a weightlifting team, right?
Krzysztof Szczesny says, do you have any prediction for Sunday Open SP 500? Smiley face.
Oh man, that's too far away, man. We'd have to see Friday first. I almost every weekend we've had a little bit of a drop. So.
Eric says, Seth, how do you get live data feed through NinjaTrader without a funded account?
Well, so if you go to the NinjaTrader website, you come over here. It says uncover your opportunity, and then it asks you for your email address. And then when you put your email address in there and you click download, then it will say, do you want free live market data? Excuse me. And then you say yes, and they will send you an email, and then CQG is supposed to come right behind with credentials. But see, they know my email address. I bet you even if I do this, they will be like, you've done that before, Seth. You can't get more. Oh, wait. Hold on. Tell them you're not a robot. Submit. Okay. So they send in it. And then I come back over here to my email. Oh, I want to just go back. We'll wait and see what they sent me. I'm not getting anything. I don't know. IQ feed though seems to tax my system somehow. Maybe that's good, but I'm straight dropping frames. And I would really like to get back to my regular rhythmic connection because that worked. And if it was on rhythmic and it was still doing it, then I would know that it had something more to do with like maybe a change in maybe the change to 64-bit day trader jigsaw. I don't know. Oh, what was that? Oh, that was my USB switch. I don't know why it does that. Sometimes my USB switch will switch me over to my laptop for no reason.
Eric says, yeah, I have done that several times, but I have exceeded the demo as well. But I have tried to pay for data through NinjaTrader, but I don't have a username because I haven't funded an account yet.
Yeah, so if you haven't funded an account yet and you've used the demo, I don't know how to get free data through NinjaTrader.
Krzysztof Szczesny says, correct, Eric, you need to fund first.
So that's when you could go and get a rhythmic demo, and you could, if you have the right license. Well, this is another issue is certain, when you come in here, can I show that? Yeah. So when I come in here and I can see connections available and I got all of these different ones available, it has to do with the license that you have. And they're not using the multi-broker license anymore. They want you to all to go through the NinjaTrader brokerage. So if you don't have an older demo that allows you to use like Rhythmic, then this won't work. But you can go and get a Rhythmic demo, and then instead of trading through our trader, connect NinjaTrader to it. And I've done that before, and I believe that works. Yeah, here's my second one. 1 minute ago. Thank you. A username and password will be emailed to you shortly. It probably won't. It probably won't. Well, I guess it's not a big deal. I just, when I see the dropped frames, I'm like, oh no, 10%. It says 10% of frames. That's really bad. And even after I changed the process priority. Is it that it just doesn't like pumping through that much data? Like, I don't know. Look at that. So I was thinking about taking it short. They never. Oh, no, wait. I forgot what I was doing. I stopped fucking paying attention. Oh, gosh, that was dumb. Okay. Well. It goes. Let's put a stop here. That was like the most ADHD thing I've ever done. Jeez. Like I put out a limit order and then I completely focused on something else. Now that last move up is actually a little suspicious. I mean, like they bounced and they bounced good, but we're coming back to the news price. So they're probably going to defend the news price and push us back down. And because that move up, that last move up was as strong as it was, they're probably going to kick it down really hard. Okay. So let's just come back up here and just in case, This looks like it's turning down pretty okay though. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting like the stop runs higher that you almost immediately fall back. Okay. Buyer's insistent, I guess. Let's keep this mail window open over here in case they send me stuff. I was looking at this. So this virus stuff. So this is like the best kind of like compression shorts you can get, and all of the Olympic weightlifters use it. Looking at it, I was like, oh, that is cute. But one of our weightlifters, she was at the post office the other day, and she was wearing her stuff, and it says virus on it. It was like a shirt, and it said virus on it, and everybody was staring at her. She was like, I probably shouldn't wear this. Okay, now it's giving a solid short. So I'm going to try doing a little bit of campaigning here. Mm-hmm. Well, darn. Okay, so the volume definitely came down there and everything. Um, but the price is not yet. They're kind of hinting that they're not done. I don't know. I think I should get out of this. uh, you know what? Hmm. Okay. Not quite sure what to make of that, but break of the high definitely did not help, did it? Yeah. The setup is just not there anymore. When it was at 74, it looked really good, but I gave that way more room than I should have. This is a very interestingly insistent buying. Like 86.75 is the man. I don't know. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Yeah, it's kind of hinting that I can get it again. Okay. No. Okay. So a little bit of absorption around the 78 area. Still looks like he's there. Not like the sellers are trying hard, though. Okay. Third time up there. No. Okay. There it's given the short again. It's still a little questionable, but I think we could take it. I don't know. Buyers still insistent. Not giving up. Trying to bury him there. So like right at 2480 or so. Okay. Hmm. How are good? How are we doing, by the way? There's everything with the stream is okay, right? Mm-mm-mm-mm. I'm noticing a little bit of. It looks like some of you guys are getting like pushed out or dropping, which kind of sucks. But what you gonna do? Okay. Yep. Thought so. Okay, that move is too big. Hmm. I think somebody's getting hurt here. It really dropped hard. Look at that. I guess there's a little bit of a support area here from like 70, 72 area. There's the whole 74 was where we were fighting before, right? Okay. And look, I'm come back. Fine. Damn it. Missed it. Talk about a twist. Jeez. What is he want? Why is he so excited about it? Huh. Well, I don't really trust this move. No, 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 no. That's not what we wanted. That is not the first time that that has happened to me, but Jeez. Fuck. It's like impossible to catch too, right? Man. All right, so on that last one. Oh, it wasn't so bad. What the fuck? What the fuck? Breaking. President Trump tells CNBC he spoke with President Putin yesterday and Saudi Crown Prince today and expects them to announce an oil production cut of 10 million barrels and could be up to 50 million. Buy that shit. Okay. Yes, sir. We want to buy all that. I want to buy all of them. And they're going to try and squeeze people. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think we could at least get back to 25.50 after this news. I don't know. We'll see. I'm being a little shy about it now all of a sudden. It's kind of funny. I was sure late on that news, man. They knew. I wonder if somebody knew and they pushed it down like that on purpose. What a freaking head fake, man. Mm-hmm. Cool. Yep. What a stop run. Wowee. Well, how far can I hold it? I could keep it for the next 30 minutes, I guess. I hope that you guys all being really quiet means that you bought there at some point and are making money. Even Discord is being chat quiet right now. You guys. Oh man, look at him go.
Bot says hold it until you see the opposite signal.
Well, the signal was Donald Trump
Krzysztof
tweeting. I don't
Szczesny says
know.
end of the session.
Nah, I don't know if end of the session. Oil cuts would be very helpful. I'm wondering now, is now the time to get the oil stocks? Where did oil go to? I can't see oil right now. Didn't include it in the package. Let's see, are the crude guys yapping? Take profit.
Krzysztof Szczesny says oh. Krzysztof Szczesny says oil.
Yeah. It looks like a couple
Krzysztof
of them got
Szczesny
lucky.
says wow.
There was one guy in their chat that said that he was happened to be long for the report, the Thursday report, and got lucky. Well, the market's really gonna move on this. It's at 25.50 at least. It's got to be like one of my targets. Like, oh, that's so far away though. Wow. It's a lot of contracts trading it too. Man. $1.76. So that means that we'll at least get some pullback, but the nature of the trade that I'm trying to do has kind of changed, hasn't it? I wonder what he did. Saudi Arabia calls for urgent OPEC meetings. How did he convince them? What did he offer them? I bet you oil is just on a tear.
Krzysztof Szczesny says could be only hope tweet.
No, he says he spoke to them, and then as soon as it was coordinated, because as soon as he posts that, the Saudi prince saying stuff. So it's totally legit. Saudis are calling for immediate meetings. It sounds like that Russia and Saudi Arabia are both ready to come to the table and make a deal and do a cut. So I was super weird. I wonder how much.
Bot says any idea why my reconstructed tape stalled out, stopped working at 10 o'clock Eastern time?
I don't know. I think that to fix that one, because this is not the first time it's happened, right? If you're not seeing anything in the NinjaTrader logs, then we would have to like have it debugging live to see what the error was, you know? There's probably an error somewhere that it's just not bubbling up. You don't see
Bot
anything in
says
the
nope,
output window?
happens every day.
And you don't see anything in the NinjaTrader output window? And they're going to let me pick up more.
Bot says prior RTH high was 2,509.75, might be time to take some profit on that long. Red says do you use any type of speed of the tape measure?
I don't have any measure, but I definitely pay attention to it. So there being 09, that's a good point. Though I'd have to say they went through it, and I feel like that in this kind of a situation, a level like that is meaningless. So we'll see how good of a call that ends up being or not. I'm kind of making a bit of a play here that is, I don't know. So if I do come over here, F8 from there to there, they might try and retrace more, but this is a spot where based on my strategy, I would be expecting to see a bounce of some sort. So let's just watch and see. You told them on CNBC Live. Interesting. CNBC gets the scoop of a lifetime and then buries it by talking to Kaplan for 15 minutes. Really? What? Man. Okay. Continuing back up now. So it was early, but that's okay. I want to call this Trump. How is CNBC calling it? Let's do it with Donald Trump's name at the front. Trump works. Don't have enough characters to write this. Oh, he's trying hard again to sell it. Okay. Is this that same thing again? Well, I better hope so. A bunch of guys are telling me that their oil data is
Bot
not
says
coming
so.
through.
Do you still think 09.75 is meaningless?
I do. I feel I am totally willing to sit here and risk it. 100%. No doubt in my mind. Literally, no doubt in my mind that price means jack shit. Not kidding. I'm that confident about it. So if that's the high for the day and that 09 ends up being like a big deal, then we could come back tomorrow and tell me that I'm wrong. But I'm like really confident that it doesn't mean a thing. I did take some contracts off up there, but actually it was before that, wasn't it? Never mind. Anyways, for what I'm trying to do with this now, I don't care about the previous day's high. They're going to go higher than that. How can I phrase this that doesn't... Markets jump on Trump oil deal. How about that? It's 8:49. Interesting.
IQ says, do you think OO has meaning lol ZB?
Well, you're always going to see a lot of value at OO for sure. I don't know. I'm not necessarily like a huge fan of levels. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean that you're never going to see a stock or sorry, an asset come to a level and, you know, hit that level and go through it and break out, or vice versa, fail to get through that level and that you can't play it. But that, in the larger scheme of things, if the if oil production gets reduced, and that makes the price of oil stabilize back to $30. And that helps all of the sectors of the economy that are related to oil that are being killed right now. And that helps us recover some of those really, really big losses that we had, like below 2,700. Then, yeah, whatever numbers they have up there doesn't mean anything, right? Maybe on a very short term basis because they did kind of turn there, but I would very much rather hold it for the full win, you know? So, um, but that 0 0, they've been holding that area pretty much all day, and now they've dipped below it. Now you got 181.24 below us, right? So they're not completely done, but okay. So where was it when I was like, okay, this is too far? I don't remember where I took them. I think I took some off at some point, right?
Red says if we recover Seth, then the upstairs not happy as they want to lend the dollars. Red says just my thought.
They want to lend the dollars. Well, doesn't this? Well, I don't know what it does to the currency itself. I would think that it would make the dollar stronger, though, right? Well, let's see. I see 6E is down. 6J is really down. 6J is down way more than the treasuries are. That's interesting. I think at the moment in the E-mini that we've got a few too many people on in the trade. But like I'm turning it into a swing. Like I'm willing to risk that much on it. To get. Yep. To get
Red
that
says I
maybe
don't mean
beyond.
dollars, I mean there is lots to gain from a bailout to those who are going to issue the bailout.
Oh sure. Oh sure. And they won't have to. Well, they may still have to bail out some oil companies. I don't know.
Red says as if we recover due to oil per day Monreal point in a bailout, my 2 cents. IQ says 27T swing now for PBZB.
Yeah. And ZB is awfully. That moved down pretty violently in ZB too, didn't it? It was not quite as dramatic in the 10-year, from what I can gather. I don't know. Well, what was it from 09 to 03? So 60. Sorry, 12 points. 12 ticks, rather. Okay, strong buy. That one's a little too fast. You may have to base out a little bit.
Red says I asked about the speed of the tape as it really helps with the order flow as a subgraph, kinda like when they trading in the pits and you can see the intensity of a move.
Yeah. So the thing that I have is here on my DOM, you can see that when it moves, there's a little bit of a color that trails behind it so that you can see when it moved really far, you can see how long the tail is. So that's kind of my main indicator of pace, but that's like a really short termed thing, right? And of course, I have like other things that tell me like the average true range and so forth so that I know when it's moving more. Trade Station just raised oil margin 150%. Oh. So they probably forced a lot of people to sell. That's funny. Oh my gosh, guys. I think the kind of trade that I'm trying to make here is not, like when John was saying you could take it off at that high. I do think that it looks like that would have been a good place to have taken some contracts off of, but I'm trying to play the bigger thing now. Like I'm trying to play the full swing because I caught a little bit of it. I'm expecting it to go up to like 25, 50, 26, maybe even 27. Um, but it kind of looks like that the short-term traders are getting jerked around here a little bit because people are pulling margins out from under them and stuff like that. So I wonder if there was a lot of people short too, though.
Bot says I didn't say take it off, I said it might be a place to take some profits off.
Yeah, you're right, John. I was a little too. I so when I played it, I said, okay, I should put everything on here, and then it came up to a spot, and I took a little bit off, and then it came back down, and I put it a little bit back on, and clearly, if I had done those at that high price and everything, then I would have done a little bit better, and this wouldn't be so uncomfortable. So it did end up being a significant price. When I was saying like I'm that confident, like what I was saying is I don't think it'll be the high of the day. That's what I was trying to say. And I think I at the in the moment I misunderstood what you were trying to tell me. Mm. That was just like one of those things where okay, there was the head fake, which always pisses me off. It's so not fair. They start the sell and then they flip it on you. But I saw it, coming out, and then as soon as I saw the headline on Twitter, I was like, oh yeah, you just run that one. That is McFly if I ever saw one. So I was a little overly excited. So if I'm getting already one deviation. I do think that this is going to go higher, but it might take them a long time to do it because there's all these positions and everything that are like resolving themselves out that aren't necessarily conducive to it continuing to move up. I should have taken it. Oh, I was thinking of going like this, and then if it came back down there, buying it again. But now that it's past, I don't think that I want to hold that. Hmm. So it's doing it again. That would definitely have been where I wanted to pick it up again. Okay. Well, treasuries are just the bottom is falling out. Look at that. Thank you. This one might be a trick. Like with this kind of momentum, that kind of a play is usually pretty good. But without the momentum, that can be a real trick. There we go. Oh, now the treasuries are going to go for it. And the E-minis they're all kind of, oh boy. They're all kind of going at once. I think that we might get a big bar here. Not that many stops in ES. So kind of doing this screw around with long sort of thing again where they fast move down. And
Damien Asman says, "What's up, guys?"
how are you?
IQ says back to overnight low ZB 181 to 24 area.
So I'm going to take this one at +8. But if it goes further than that, like, whoa, seriously. Equities are getting pretty volatile here now. Look at those runs. They're really trying to hold those 6 for some reason. Well, it's maybe not that they're trying to, it's that the range right now is about 6 points. And so they're trading this 6 point range here over and over and over again. It's awfully frustrating because every time that I'm up there, I'm like, well, it's going to keep going, and then it doesn't. See here, if they bust through that, they're going to bust it hard because they just traded a big volume cluster there at 2503. No, they're going to force it the other way again first. Hmm. Nothing like that stack at 29.5 in the 10-year was not favorable. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. So they're starting to return back to a little bit more normal price action, but buyers are still having a hard time kind of keeping it above 2,500. Like almost the whole move since Trump announced that thing is retraced. So we've had like really bad news, really big move down and retrace, and now really good news. Not quite as big of a move back up, but retrace. The whole thing is just a little crazy. That's kind of like they knew that they were at a key inflection point where the market would want to go down and came in to support it. Brannigan Barrigate. Saudi and Russia couldn't agree to a 1.5 million cut. How on earth do you think there's even a remote chance of a 10 million cut to supply? Saudi produces 12 million on its own. Trump is full of hot air. Novak spoke earlier in the day. You tell me if a big deal is imminent. So they think that he's lying. That's why it's not going. Is some traders think that he's lying. I wouldn't want to be taking that. I don't know. So on that level that we were talking about that was up above us, how exactly would you play that? Because it had come up to it, it went right through it. So when it comes back down to it, what makes you say we should be taking profits there? Like that it's going to come all the way back? You know, I don't know. Like I would expect if there was a level like that and it was really bullish, and that level was really a level that I cared about, I'd want to see it come up above that level a little bit and then find support and then continue on from there. You know what I mean? Okay. So there's the volume just came in and shifted potentially. The 10 million barrels per day cited by President Trump is a big number, but isn't easy to achieve. Even if Saudi Arabia and Russia were to find a face-saving way to agree on their relative shares, overall magnitude is one that they'll find hard to swallow. Most other producers are in worse shape. I think that they're wrong. Well, I don't really know this sort of a thing, so I should be a little cautious, and I set my risk reward and everything, and this isn't a scalp, so let's keep that in mind. But um okay. Iridia Shabam, responding to April 2020 AD SBA, would like Saudi Arabia, referring to the efforts made during the last period of efforts to reach an agreement in a group to restore balance in the oil market, which has mobilized support for it from 22 countries, but was not possible to reach an agreement not to get consensus. The kingdom calls for an urgent meeting of OPEC and a group of other countries with the aim of seeking a fair agreement that will restore the desired balance of the oil markets. This call comes in the framework of the kingdom's endeavor to support the global economy in this exceptional circumstance and in appreciation of the request of His Excellency, the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, and the request of friends in the United States. So they're saying we're going to do 10 like I think I understand what's going on here. I think that some traders that are on the oil short are going to be wrong. they have come in. The United States, Russia, and Saudi Arabia have all come in and said, we're going to cut. And Donald Trump thinks that he has an agreement. It's 10 million barrels per day. Saudi Arabia is coming out and calling for the meeting. So it sounds like it's a legit thing. Brannigan Barrett thinks that Russia is going to come out and deny it. I don't think so. That is a mighty big gamble. Yeah, I don't know, man. So they're going to come back up and try and test this O6 level again. And if they get above it, I think that there's going to be a lot of drama. But there's clearly participants in the market, some traders that I'm looking at that think that the announcement is tough to believe at face value. But I think it's extremely foolish to try and fight that. What are you guys saying? I'm sorry, I haven't been my thing is not running anymore. What's up, guys? Hey, Damien, how are you? Russian says fake news. CNBC. Note that Saudi Arabia is not just asking for an OPEC meeting, but also include several other unnamed nations, possibly a signal that Riyadh wants to see other G20 oil producers like the U.S., Canada, and Brazil contribute to any oil production cuts. Saudi Arabia, the statement from Riyadh is far more measured call for OPEC plus meeting. The deal needs to include cuts from every nation. Don't know. So once again at 2506, some resistance. They definitely have a deal. Maybe the amount might not be correct. That would for sure make sense. Krasarski says Russia says fake news. CNBC. No, they haven't said that yet, right? I think you're just joking. Peskov says Putin has not spoken to the Saudi crown prince on first squawk. Georgia Governor Kemp says he recently learned asymptomatic people could transmit coronavirus. I saw that story earlier today, but somebody was saying the CDC is in his state. How can you not know that? Wow. I don't know, man. This kind of I think the way that it's behaving now, and the fact that there are people counter trading it on the expectation that it's all fake news, it really does change the dynamic of the trade. But if they're wrong, man, they are sure gonna lose a ton of money. I can't even imagine coming in and placing a bet like that Russia's gonna say no. Especially since Donald Trump says he spoke to them. Like, man, I don't know. That is just an awfully crazy gamble. It's so interesting. He was definitely around 2,500, but what's also worrisome is that the RIA reports that Putin is denying that Russia even spoke to Saudi Arabia via Forex Live. Yeah, I'm not. So what is RIA? Who is that? See, Summer said Saudi Arabia mulls oil output reduction to below 9 million barrels per day if others join the effort. So maybe it's the case that there is a cut, but that the number is not what they thought or something. But was the market really pricing in that like that exact? I don't know. They fell a good clip there again. Now they're really back to the open price. So I'm trying to find here a Forex Live or one of these guys. Russia's Peskov said that. See, who is Peskov? Who is this guy? Russian diplomat. Kremlin press secretary. I don't know. I guess Russian press secretary would be one to be concerned about him not knowing about it. But he might not know. Certainly, if it was Donald Trump's press secretary saying something, and then Donald Trump said something else, and who would you believe? But in this case, we haven't heard from Putin himself, so I don't know. You would think that if he hadn't spoken, that Putin would be calling him right now. I don't know. I think that the financial environment that we're in right now is extraordinary, and that some sort of significant deal to support the markets is inevitable. And the deal, the specifics of what it might be right now might not be favorable to it, but that in the long run they will agree to some sort of a cut. So on this particular one, I don't know. I clearly could have played that differently and better, right? It does look oversold here at the moment, but I don't know. I'm just kind of I want you guys to be able to see the conclusion of it, and I kind of have to go. So I'll tell you what, you can just track it for me. If it gets below 24.75, then I'm wrong, and if it gets to 25.50, then I'm right. So we'll see what happens. All right. IDK, what do you know? What do you think about Gary Norton and his market making scalping style? I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. I really, really want to get his materials and try it. And I'm going to save up the money for it. I don't know if I'll actually do it or not. Kind of depends on how I'm doing with my scalp. But I'm really interested in it. That's all I can really say about it. Okay, so I think that I am seeing something that's a little different. Donald Trump spoke to the Crown Prince, and in his tweet, he said he spoke with Putin. And I expect and hope they will be cutting back approximately 10 million barrels. So I think that what has happened here is Donald Trump talked to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia said we could cut 10 million barrels per day. And they talked to Russia, and they're going to call the meeting. So it is a possibility. It's probably not a done deal, huh? Mm. Okay. Well, I'm going to tweet. I'm going to put myself on the line and say I think that fading this is dumb, but we shall see. Some of these traders that I'm seeing talking about it, they could play it short term, and they might, make a big bet and caught their run and are happy with it. So whatever. Do you think it is a legit 999 for manual is a lot? If you learn to do that, will you make streams trading that way? I think you sign a non-shared document. Yeah, so if I do that, um, I think I will still stream, of course, but I wouldn't be able to share with you anything about it. So I don't know if I would, if it would be that you'd see me take trades and you just wouldn't know why, or if I do it on another screen or what. I'm going to guess though that if you're like the thing is it's a very expensive document. I think that you're kind of getting like a framework for doing something that's very valuable, but that what is in it is probably not actually all that spectacular. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that a lot of people read it and go, "That's it? What?" So, but the demand is there for it, and so that's why they have it for that price. And I'm sure that there are things in there that I really want to know and that would help. Why do you trust him? What's your point of view? So the reason that I trust him is that he was a really big trader, traded on the floor, managed significant books, was the leader of trading operations for several large companies. So if you want to talk to a guy that's made markets professionally and has made money doing it, it's him. There's nobody else in the retail sector um, talking to us about market making type of stuff that has that resume. His resume is you can't deny. So, I guess you could say that he's just like straight out lying, but nobody has ever said that, and he's been around for so long. You would think that somebody would have said that by now, right? So that's why I trust him. But like I said, I don't think that the manual is going to be like some spectacular revelation. It's going to be like, oh yeah, I kind of knew that, but it was never a focus for me. And now I focus on those particular things, and it gives me a framework that I can use to build my system on. And that's kind of what himself has said, and that's kind of what Peter Davies has said too. So I do think that there's a risk that if you're not like into this, you're not looking at the DOM like I'm the person he's targeting. You know what I mean? People that are trading order flow and maybe having trouble with it, right? If you're not that person, you're probably going to read it and be like, what? You know, because you're not going to understand why the things that he's saying in it are significant. But I haven't read it. I don't really know. I really want to. That's kind of the whole thing is like, it's like with any education. Spend $1,000 on a piece of education, would it really make a difference, or not? Or do I have a solid enough framework to work with right now that I don't need that, and I just need to work on, the things that I know I need to work on. Anyways, I'm gonna hold this, so we'll see. I know a guy who learned from Gary, and he says he doesn't have losing days, really. Well, I have spoken to one or two guys that have learned from Gary, and they didn't necessarily say that they don't have losing days, but they showed me stats, and they were quite impressive, and it looked like they had a real system that I have not been able to develop, but I would certainly like to trade a system with those kinds of stats. 70% winners, equal risk reward, ability to let them run if you want. Yeah, that means a lot. So, yeah. Okay, I really should go. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable.